let's start. Thanks, Jonathan.
Perfect. So for my happy habits presentation, I decided to talk about diet soda or sugar-free soda, not just artificial sweeteners, because I would say that I drink a lot of sugar-free soda, quite a lot, maybe a bit too much, like almost 2 to 3 cans a day. So I picked this topic because I wanted to look into the consequences of drinking this much, and so later I would have to decide if I were to, for example, quit drinking it or like continue drinking it. So I'll show you what I found. So first, I don't know what happened here. First and foremost, some facts. It's probably one of the world's most popular beverages. It's a bit distorted right now, as you might see. But for example, there's a sugar-free alternative to most drinks right now out on the market. For example, there's Coke Zero, there's Sprite Zero, there's Fanta Zero. Even like sugar-free beer or sugar-free Kool-Aid, there's a sugar-free alternative to almost everything right now. And for example, it's often marketed as something like a sugar-free and sometimes even a healthier alternative. I put healthier in quotation marks because I'm going to find out if it really is healthier or not than ordinary sugar. It's a bit difficult to see here right now, but usually why a drink is sugar-free is because you exchange the sugar to other sorts of chemicals. For example, the most common one is aspartame. It actually like says the distorted word in almost right down there. It's supposed to say aspartame. But there's also cyclamate, saccharin, aspartame K, or sucralose. So, but the most extensively used and common one is aspartame. That is why I'm going to talk a bit more about aspartame. So its chemical word or number is E951, and it usually consists of it always consists of 2 amino acids. The thing with aspartame is that it's almost 1 to 200 times more sweeter than sugar, so you just need a very minimal amount to make it as sweet as a normal sugary drink. That means, that there's a really, really minimal amount of aspartame in these sugar-free drinks. Very minimal amount. So several, for example, departments working with health have put out a way to count how much aspartame you need to eat per day, or the maximum amount of aspartame you can eat per day before it gets unhealthy for you. And what you do is you count 50 milligrams per kilo in your body. So if you weigh, for example, 60 kilograms, you can eat around, at maximum, 2.4 grams of aspartame. And it's been out on the market since 1965, so it's actually one of the most extensively researched chemicals out there. But the research is a really divisive topic, so that's one of the most interesting things I found when I looked into this topic. For example, I can see 2 clear sides when I look into the research about aspartame. For example, there's one side who say that it's potentially hazardous for your health. Some experiments have linked it to a higher risk of, for example, heart disease or diabetes or weight gain. And some researchers who claim that, for example, other experiments that claim that it's not bad for you. They say just like, oh, well, the researchers might be motivated by money or they are getting paid by the big companies. But it's really decisive. And then on the other scale, we have the ones who say the other thing around, basically. They say that, well, there has been a lot of experiments, but none have really shown decisive proof or evidence to support that it might link to these health risks. And for example, one of the most prominent groups of scientists who support this thesis is actually the American Chemical Society. They are one of the most outspoken against, as they call it, myths that, for example, aspartame is dangerous or potentially hazardous. They say why people today believe it so much is because the press or the media likes publicity. So because sugar-free drinks is such an extensively consumed drink, when somebody comes up with the news like, oh yeah, this causes cancer or this causes heart disease, it's very easily published because people read it a lot. So right now I'm actually going to show a short video from American Chemical Society about this topic, where they say they debunk the myth about aspartame. So I'm gonna set this up real quick. See if the volume works. Does the volume work? Or, yeah.
It's not working. Your volume's on, huh?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe. No? Isn't the volume working?
It's not. It's
Oh well, never mind. But it basically says that there's been so many extensive and well done experiments in this area about aspartame particularly, and none have really been able to claim that it's dangerous or potentially hazardous. And a lot of other departments, for example in Sweden, we have Livsmedelsverket. They say that, for example, there's no proof claiming that aspartame is dangerous. So they say just drink it at the recommended amount, and there shouldn't be any danger to your health. So after all this, I decided, well, that there isn't really, I think personally, after listening to all this, the arguments, that there isn't really any proof that it's dangerous. But it made me think over the amount I drink. So I think I'm just gonna drink much less than I did before. Like moderation is probably the most preferable in this situation. So yeah, thank you.